Welcome into Steelers Talk-Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry. Today we are going to be covering the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be a great show. We got a bunch of great stuff lined up for you. But first, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We are now the fastest growing Steelers channel on YouTube, and that is for a reason. We have interactive live shows every single week. We got incredible NFL draft analysis every single day. Every time the Steelers make a move in free agency, we're going to have a video for you. So we got a bunch of great stuff here on the channel. If you love the black and gold, you love the Steelers, go ahead and do me a favor, click that subscribe button for me right now. So now moving on here, this is what we're going to be talking about on today's show. We got some draft rumors for you, but first we're going to be talking about an offensive assistant that the Steelers hired. His name is Glenn Thomas, okay? He was the offensive coordinator from the Arizona State Sun Devils last season. He's bounced around college and pro football, but he's somebody that's held in pretty high regard in NFL and NCAA circles. Now, his offensive philosophy is more run and shoot, power run game mixed with the deep passing game. He learned under Mike Mularkey when he was actually with the Pittsburgh Steelers, power run game, that classic ground and pound with Jerome Bettis. This guy was there, and then he's known as a great teacher, especially for young quarterbacks. So that's great to have him in the building for Kenny Pickett. And then he's held in pretty high regard by NFL head coaches around the league. Some former NFL coaches that he's worked for, Mike Smith, Dirk Cutter, Matt Rule. This guy is somebody that is seen as a really good teacher and somebody that is going to be a good fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it's a good hire. I think that this guy is a smart individual, and I really think that the most important thing for a coach in the National Football League is that you can communicate your message to your players in an effective manner. Everything that I have heard about this guy, Thomas, I think that he's got it. I think that he'd be a really good offensive assistant to help out Matt Canada. He has experience running this type of run scheme that the Steelers are implementing. And the big question now is, could Thomas be in line to replace Matt Canada as the offensive coordinator if Canada sucks this next year? I mean, we know the last couple years under Matt Canada, this Steelers offense has not been maybe what it could be, and right now they're bringing him back as they want to keep that consistency for Kenny Pickett heading into his second year. But man, if this offense sputters out of the gate, I wouldn't mind whatsoever to replace Canada with this guy Thomas that really has a track record. He's called plays before. I think he's a good football mind. So let me know in the comments section, will Glenn Thomas replace Matt Canada as the Steelers offensive coordinator? Type Y if you think yes, or type N if you think no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever you get an ad break here on the show, just go ahead, go into the comment section, take advantage of that time by answering today's question. So now let's get into some draft rumors here. Of course, top 30 visits are happening. All this different hullabaloo is going around the NFL draft right now. And there's some rumors going around about Brian Branch and how he is falling down NFL draft boards. Like just a couple weeks ago, Brian Branch was considered potentially a top 20 pick in the National Football League draft. And now some people think he could be available for the Steelers at number 32. So you might be asking, well, how can somebody fall that drastically in just a couple of weeks? Well, when he was at the Combine, he just didn't test very well. You take a look at his RAS, relative athletic score. None of these are very good, right? He's kind of a smaller guy, right? You look at that composite size grade, it is poor. So usually NFL scouts, if you're in the red in that category, you better be in the green in the other categories. And he was just good. He wasn't great in any other category. He didn't run a very great 40 time at 4.58, and then the composite explosion grade is just good as well. So, I'm looking at Brian Branch, and I'm less concerned than some of the other pundits are. I think he's still a really, really good football player. I think that maybe he might not be able to do the amount of things that maybe we thought he could do coming out. Like maybe he can't play outside corner. Maybe he can't play free safety. But man, I still think that this guy is a damn good player. And if you draft him at the bare minimum, you're getting a really good nickel corner, in my opinion. And it looks like that Brian Branch could be there now at number 32. And then the big question then is, do the Steelers take him at number 32? I think he's a versatile weapon that you can use on defense. Put him next to Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, with this 3 safety package that the Steelers have been implementing lately, especially towards the end of 2022, Branch could be a very versatile and valuable piece for the Steelers defense. So he could be there at number 32. And if he does, something tells me the Steelers are going to heavily really consider it. So if you want to be wearing the same exact headgear as maybe Brian Branch on draft night, you can go to our website and buy some of these awesome Steelers draft hats. Look at these hats, man. They got that nice stone color this year with the gold lettering, logo in the middle. I think this year's hat looks the best out of at least the last couple of years. I didn't really like last year's hats, but man, this year's is awesome. And right now, they are on sale right now on the Steelers or on the Chat Sports website, chatsports.com/Steelers draft hat. Personally, I really like this black and gold one. I think I'm going to get this black and gold one myself for whenever we go live during the NFL draft, whether it be day 1 or day 2. I think we're going to have a live stream during that week. I'm probably going to get that hat to wear on the stream then. But man, we've got curve bills, you got snapbacks, you got flat bills. We got what you want, but let me tell you guys, these things go fast. Right now, some of these items are really getting close to selling out. So if you want to get the one that you want, you have to go to chatsports.com/Steelers draft hat to get your Steelers draft hat today. So now the Pittsburgh Steelers have officially brought in a quarterback on a top 30 visit. Clayton Tune from Houston visits the Pittsburgh Steelers, and, he's probably going to be a day 3 guy. So this is by no means a move to replace Kenny Pickett. But right now you got Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky on the roster. You might be looking to add a third quarterback to the roster via maybe even like round 7 in the draft. Clayton Tune would probably be there. His pros is that he's got good size, 6'2", 220 pounds. He's a plus runner. He's an athletic dude. He's got good arm strength, maybe not great arm strength. It's an NFL arm, and then he plays with good base. And what that means is he doesn't bring his feet together. He plays with his feet apart at all times. He does a good job of that. And what that does is that increases accuracy and consistency. So he's good on that. But his cons are pocket presence. He likes to leave clean pockets. You give him about 2 seconds, and then he usually tries to escape the pocket. Another pro of his, by the way, is that he's actually a pretty darn good playmaker and thrower on the run. But man, from within the pocket, the mental processing isn't all that great. He doesn't see the middle of the field too well, despite being 6'2", which concerns me quite a bit. And then he puts the ball in harm's way with his decision-making. 10 interceptions last year, which isn't ideal. But Clayton Tune, man, he's somebody that the Steelers could definitely look at to be a backup option for them in the years to come. Day 3 is what he's going to be worth, in my opinion. He's going to be a Toolsy-type backup quarterback in the National Football League. He might end up just being a straight-up bust. He might be out of the league in 3 years, or he might just end up being a pretty darn good backup. But he's a Toolsy guy, athletic guy, pretty good arm. I think he's going to be a decent prospect, a decent pickup for a team in round 7 or round 6. And like I said, guys, this is not a move to replace Kenny Pickett whatsoever. Like, if the Steelers take a quarterback late in the draft, probably round 7, it's just to add to the quarterback room, see if they can inject some youth here and maybe not pay their backup quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky, over $10 million, which is what they're currently on the hook for right now. If they can find a pretty darn good backup quarterback and he's good enough to be the backup for Kenny Pickett, I should say, in 2023, they might just end up cutting Mitchell Trubisky to save some cap room next season. So let me know in the comments section right now. Will the Pittsburgh Steelers draft a quarterback in this year's NFL draft? Type D if you think draft, or type P if you think pass. So before we wrap things up here, one last thing. Bleacher Report has released a list of their top 3 first-round draft targets to help Kenny Pickett specifically. So the other day, we went over, I think it was Steeler Nation's list of the top 3 first-round draft prospects. I wasn't a huge fan of that list. Let's see if this list is any better. Number 1 on their list is Broderick Jones, offensive tackle, and this one is number 1 on my list as well. I think Broderick Jones is that guy that the Steelers need to be targeting because I think he's a great fit for what they're trying to do. They're trying to shift to more of a power running game this year as opposed to more zone, what they've run the last couple of years. They shifted to more power in the second half of the year last year. Really seemed to work. Broderick Jones is the best power blocker in this year's draft, in my opinion, at least at the offensive tackle position. 0 sacks allowed in the SEC last year. Can get on his toes a bit at times. His hand placement can be inconsistent at times, but I think he's a day 1 starting left tackle in the National Football League. I think he's absolutely worth targeting if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you got Darnell Wright, another offensive tackle prospect here. Probably a right tackle or a guard. Maybe he could move over to the left side, but that's a question mark. He played right tackle at the University of Tennessee. I think he's going to be one heck of a player no matter where he plays. I think that he's pretty much bust-proof. He's either going to be a really good tackle or he's going to be a really good guard. But the question is for Pittsburgh is, can he play left tackle? I think if there's one player on this offensive line that the Steelers can replace, it's Dan Moore Jr. at left tackle. I want somebody like a Broderick Jones or maybe a Paris Johnson Jr. or a Peter Skoronski that you know has success on the left side. Darnell Wright, although he does have some nice upside, I'm a little bit worried about him moving over to the left side because he hasn't had success there in the past. If he's available at 32, maybe I would take him, but at number 17, that might be a little bit rich for me. Then a little bit of a surprise here. Bleacher Report says Zay Flowers, wide receiver from Boston College, should be on the Steelers' list of guys to add to this roster alongside Kenny Pickett. And listen, guys, I love Zay Flowers. My comp for him, and some people call me crazy on this, is Antonio Brown. Okay, 5'10", 172 pounds. I mean, he's the same height, just a little bit lighter than Antonio was coming out of Central Michigan. But man, when this guy is on the field, he just looks like he's on skates and everybody else is running. This guy is an incredibly smooth athlete. He is fast. He is a great route runner. He's got really good body control as well, which you don't really see with a lot of these smaller receivers. I think he's probably going to be a wide receiver one in the NFL one day. I think he's that good. I'm that much of a believer in him. And when it's all said and done, he might be the number one wide receiver on my board when I'm all done with it. But I mean, Jordan Addison and Jackson Smith and Jigba are also great in their own right. I really like Zay Flowers. If the Steelers added him, I would be one happy camper, as long as it doesn't get in the way of getting a left tackle. But you know, I think that if it's going to be anybody, if it's going to be a wide receiver, it'll probably be Jordan Addison, just because of that connection with Kenny Pickett. But hey, if they took Zay Flowers, I wouldn't mind it one bit, because I think he is one damn good football player. All right, so now go follow me on Twitter here at Jack_Sperry for additional Steelers news and rumors content. I announce special announcements for Steelers Talk and Steelers Talk Live up on my Twitter. So if you want that additional content, go ahead, follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry.